All right. I hope everyone had good lunch, and I'm sure most of you guys will be feeling sleepy. So can you guys hear me, like the back and everything? Okay. So there are different ways that you can build phylogenetic trees, and these are different methods. And so the UPGMA tree that Praveen talked about in the morning falls into this distance-based methods class. And there's other class of tree building methods is the character state approach, like the maximum parsimony. Yeah, I've started. So today in this session we'll talk about the UPGMA neighbor joining, and least square and minimum evolution is another two methods which are not in use anymore. People don't generally use it. So I'll not talk about them. I'll just like briefly try to explain them. So yeah, distance-based approaches, UPGMA, neighbor joining, minimum evolution, and least square. So this is a general flowchart of how you basically go about doing your genetic work. So this is Praveen during his early PhD days, and on the right is his model system, that is the Hanuman langur. So the first thing is you go out, collect samples, and the samples could be like, depending on what you are working on. If you're working on animals, the samples could be hair, blood, tissue, scat sample. So basically anything that can give you a DNA. Then you bring the sample to the lab, extract the DNA. You PCR amplify various markers. Markers here are basically different genes that you use to build the phylogeny. Then you do the sequencing and the sequence alignment. And based on your questions, then you can analyze the data further. So basically, this workshop basically is going to deal, even the practical, the lab part, it will be basically after sequencing what you do with your data. So this, before this part is not the focus of this workshop. Sorry, I have the slide changer. So this is the phylogenetic, this is the sequence alignment of these different langurs from India. So this is how basically a sequence alignment looks like. So this is a cytochrome B gene, just a part of that gene. So basically when the sequence is aligned, you see like each base is basically it's like properly aligned. That is a sequence alignment. So then you use this sequence alignment to build your various build phylogenetic trees using these different methods that I showed you.
Do you want to talk about the alignment algorithm?
Yeah, we got. So we just so these are different algorithms. So today we're focusing on this. Tomorrow Praveen will talk about this.
No, I'm talking about the alignment algorithm.
Oh, the alignment algorithm. No. I mean, we'll go over it during the lab part, but so the main aim of the alignment algorithm is to basically align, right?
No, but based on like, which algorithm
So,
you choose?
So that we'll go over it during the lab part. Okay? So here I've just given an example. So all these slides are prepared by Praveen. I'm just presenting. Okay. So there's this Clustal X is one algorithm. There is muscle. There is a lot of other. So yeah. So distance methods, basically what you do is you have a sequence alignment.
Speak up a little.
Yeah. That's what I was. Cool. So so distance method is basically you have a sequence alignment, and so from the sequence alignment you calculate pairwise genetic distance, and you use that distance to build the tree using either UPGMA, NJ, or other algorithms that we talked about. So here, here is a small example of 4 taxa, 4 species, and is a sequence alignment of a sequence of 9 base pairs. So here what we see, so from here we calculate the difference between each pair of species. So how we do it is basically you have, so you take two taxa, that is let's say human and chimp. So the difference between human and chimp is 2. So you calculate how many, the base difference, how many bases are different in these two taxa. Okay. So here we see the first base is different, and I think the base number 8. Base number 8 is different. So there are two differences. So then you put down 2 here. Same way you calculate for human and gorilla. So there are 4 difference between human and gorilla. So 4. So same way you do it for all the taxa pairs. So this is a dissimilarity matrix basically. So in what Praveen talked in the morning about the UPGMA method that you did, you used morphological characters. So the same way you can use genetic data. So each base here is a character. So there are 9 characters, and with the same logic you have you get this dissimilarity matrix. So so this UPGMA method, there is unweighted pair group method with arithmetic mean. So so now you have this distance matrix. So what you do is you pick up the 2 taxa with the lowest difference or distance. So in this case, human and chimp are the 2 taxa with the lowest distance. So what UPGMA will do is it will put human and chimp together, and it will just divide this difference by 2 and assign 1 on each branch. Okay. So that's your human chimp distance. Now now we have to calculate. So now after that what it does is it like considers human and chimp as one unit or one taxa, and then it consider it as one taxa, and then it recalculates the distance between this human chimp, that HC taxa, with the remaining 2 taxa. Okay. So how do you do that? So this is the formula here. So the distance between this taxa HC and gorilla will be the observed distance between human and gorilla plus the observed distance between chimp and gorilla. So here, so 4 plus 3 divide by 2, so you'll get 3.5. So you make another matrix here. So the difference between human chimp and gorilla is 3.5. Similarly, now another taxa is orangutan. So the distance between human chimp and orangutan is the same formula. The distance between human and orangutan and chimp and orangutan divided by 2 will give you 6.5. So here is the new distance matrix, and the distance between gorilla and orangutan remains the same here because it's not a part of this calculation right now. So now from here again you pick the 2 taxa with the lowest difference. So here HC and gorilla has the lowest difference. So now so basically you're going to add a new branch here with new gorilla branch. So you take this distance, divide by 2. Okay, so assign 1.75 to this branch, and here out of this 1.75 we already have this 1 here. It's taken care of by the previous calculation. So the remaining branch length will be 0.75. So now if you look at, so basically what UPGMA does is it from this node, each taxa is equidistant. So if you see chimp to the root node, so in this case this is the root node, so it's 1.75, 1.75, 1.75. Okay. And now the remaining taxa, that is orangutan. So you apply the same logic. So now you consider this human, chimp and gorilla as one unit, and so recalculate the distance to orangutan. So the observed difference between human orangutan, chimpanzee orangutan, and gorilla orangutan, divide them by 3 because there are 3 comparisons. So it will give you 6 is the distance difference. And so now you add one more branch here of orangutan. Okay, so and divide this distance difference by 2. So it will give you 3. So assign 3 here, and out of this 3, this 1.25 is this branch, and the rest is taken care by the previous calculations. So now if we add these things, it will be 3. Okay, so each taxa again is equidistant from the root node. Okay, and now what? So now if you calculate the distance between these taxa based on just this tree, so this is the distance that you get. Okay, so so this is called as this is the tree distance. Okay, so you calculate like each taxa, how the distance based on this tree, you'll get this matrix. It's a tree distance. So here, so this is the observed distance that we calculated from the sequence data, and based on this distance we build this tree, and based on this tree again we calculated the distance between each taxa, and we are getting this distance. So the observed distance is actually different from the tree distance. Okay. So this is one of the major pitfalls of UPGMA method. Okay. And so UPGMA method basically, so you calculate, so when you start building these trees, you build these trees, you take pairs of taxa and you build these trees, and that's where this paired group method component of UPGMA comes from, and then you take the distance and basically take the mean of that, and that's why this arithmetic mean component of this UPGMA tree comes from. So UPGMA tree, it always gives you it will give you an ultrametric tree, and it always gives you a rooted tree. Okay, and so basically ultrametric tree, so it assumes that each lineage is evolving at in the same rate, with the same rate. So it assumes molecular clock across different lineages. So which is again an unrealistic assumption, because we know that we know that lineages don't evolve at same rate. Okay. So
that unweighted pair matrix, unweighted is it because it considers all characters or some other reason?
Unweighted is, I think, you don't normalize it, right? For any this thing.
So it's called unweighted because when you look at the last calculation we made, you have human chimp, gorilla versus orangutan, right? Here it treats human, chimp, gorilla all as the same, gives all 3 taxa the same weight. We make that calculation. But ideally, gorilla should have the weightage that is equal to human plus chimp, right? So that's why it's called unweighted. In a weighted, pairwise grouping with arithmetic mean, gorilla will be equal to human plus chimp in the calculation.
So basically, you don't normalize for the branch length. This length here, in a way, right? You don't normalize for, okay. Yeah, so that's where the unweighted component of it comes from.
I didn't get the point of it normalizing.
Sorry.
But did you say that normalizing or not normalizing?
No, as in, I just used the word not normalizing, but what Chaitanya said, like, because we treat all of these taxa, human, chimp, and gorilla, equally, we don't bring in that this part here. Like gorilla has a much, it's basically this plus this, like higher branch length, like longer branch length. So we don't take that into consideration. We give all of these taxa equal weightage.
For example, that equation will now change if you use weighted pairwise. equation will now change to HO plus CO divided by 2 plus GO divided by 2 instead of HO, CO, GO all divided by 3.
So these are some of the pitfalls of using UPGMA. So that's why Praveen was saying in the morning, basically don't use UPGMA, but it's a good starting point to understand the basics of tree building and how the process of tree building is begins. And yeah, again, the observed distance is not equal to the tree distance. So, okay, so far, are there any questions regarding to the UPGMA? I guess you have heard it twice now, so I guess it should be much clearer. Cool. So if there are no questions, then I'll move ahead. So the next method is the neighbor joining method. So here, neighbor joining method is so it's actually in like used today also. Like I've seen a lot of papers where people do use neighbor joining method. At least it gives you a good initial, like if you have your own data set and if you want to just have a quick look at how your results are going to be. So it gives you a good initial starting point for your analysis. So what neighbor joining does is it actually incorporates rate variation across lineages. So in UPGMA, it assumes molecular clock, as all lineages are evolving at the same rate. But neighbor joining incorporates variation across lineages. And again, you will see that the observed distance and the tree distance are actually same in the neighbor joining after you do the neighbor joining analysis. So here, first what it does is, so it calculates the total distance. So total distance of any one taxa with all the other taxa. Okay. So first you calculate the total distance. So like for example here, the total distance of humans is basically distance of this difference of humans from chimp, gorilla as well as orangutan. So you have to add this up. 2 plus 4 plus 7, so it's equal to 13. So total distance for humans is 13. Similarly, if you add up all the differences of chimp with rest of the taxa, it will give you total distance of chimpanzee as 11, for gorilla as 12, and for orangutan as 18. And and after you have calculated the total distance, so then it calculates the rate corrected distance again between each taxa pair, between all the taxa pairs. So for that, this is the formula. So it uses the total distance as well as the observed distance to calculate the rate corrected distance. So I'll just go over this one example here. So the rate corrected distance between human and chimp, these two taxa pair, is given by the observed distance between human and chimp. Okay, that is 2 minus the observed distance, the total distance of human, that is here 13, plus the total distance of chimpanzee, that is here 11, and you divide this whole by n minus 2. N is the number of taxa. So you do this calculation and you get the rate corrected distance of minus 10. Similarly, do it for all the taxa pair and you get, I don't know, are you able to see this matrix at the bottom? So you get this rate corrected distance, this distance matrix for all these taxa pair. So basically, I think the rate corrected distance is calculated because we want to basically pick the taxa with the lowest, pick two taxa with the lowest distance so that we can start building our tree, just like UPGMA. So yeah, so now from this rate, so it's the same matrix here. So from this now you pick the taxa with the lowest distance. Okay, so which is the taxa with the lowest distance? Yeah, so remember these are negative values. So this is the lower distance. So both human chimp and gorilla orang pairs have lowest distance. So we can pick any of the two and start the tree building process. So here we have picked gorilla and orangutan. So now, so you have to calculate the branch length between gorilla and orangutan. So for that, and so these are the two extant taxa, and they will, I mean, of course, they have to have an ancestral node. So we put X as a one extra node from. So basically, we'll use this as the ancestral node, and then we use this formula to calculate the branch length from this X to G and then X to O. So this is the formula here. So the branch length from X to G here is the distance between gorilla and orangutan. That is the here the observed distance. Okay, that is 5 divided by 2. Then the total distance of gorilla and orangutan. So here we calculated this total distance for each taxa. So you put plug that part in here and divide by 2 into n minus 2. So it will give you a value of 1. Similarly, you calculate branch length from X to O, and with the same logic get the value of 4. Okay. So now if you see here itself, you can see the difference between the UPGMA and the neighbor joining. So UPGMA, what it would have done is, okay, gorilla orangutan, this is 5 is the difference, divided by 2, 2.5, 2.5. Okay, so it has assumed that both the lineages evolve at the same rate. But here it has taken those the rate variation into account. And so now, okay, so now moving on to the next part. So now you have this unit where you have calculated the branch length. So now what you do is you basically like club it together and make it one unit. So basically you have this X here. So now you have to calculate the branch length from X to the rest of the taxa, that is human and chimp. So again, what you do is you recalculate the distance from X to the two other taxa, and this is the formula. So distance from X to H is the observed distance from H human to gorilla, because so X basically contains gorilla and orangutan, these two taxa. So you have to calculate the observed, so you have to take into account the observed distance between human gorilla, human orangutan, and like minus it from the gorilla orangutan distance. So you plug in those observed distances here and you'll get this. Same way from chimpanzee to this node X, you use this similar logic, similar formula, and you get the distance as 2. So after that you again make this matrix of X is the one taxa, human and chimp, and this is the distance matrix that you get. Then from this distance matrix you have to recalculate the total distance, like what we did here. So from this observed distances we calculated total distance and rate corrected distance. Same way from this distance matrix you calculate the total distance for X, H and C, and from that you again calculate the rate corrected distance. So it has already been done, and this is the rate corrected distance that you get. So now here if you see, all of them has a value of -7, so you can pick any taxa pair to build the tree. So here we have picked human and I think H and X. Yeah. So same way, now we have added h here. So now we have to calculate the distance between x to h. And so this is, and it is connected by this node y here. It's the ancestral node, same logic as this. Okay. And you use the same formula to calculate the branch length. That is distance from the observed distance from h to x. So you're going to use this matrix now for this. Divide by 2 plus total distance of h and minus total distance of x and this. So you will get a branch length of 1.5. Okay. And from y to x, again you plug in these distances and you will get the branch length of again 1.5. So here, although the distance is 1.5, but it's not assuming molecular clock. We have actually calculated the branch length using the rate corrected distance. So now we have to add the final last remaining taxon, that is chimpanzee. So you recalculate the distance between y and chimp using the same formula, and you get a distance of 0.5. So that will be your distance. Actually, you don't have to calculate that because there are no other taxa. So you just add the chimpanzee branch here. And so this is your UPJ neighbor joining tree. Okay, this is an unrooted tree, and with these different branch lengths. Cool. So this is the tree that we get from the neighbor joining algorithm, and when basically you scale these branches depending based on the number of evolutionary changes that they have accumulated across during the course of their evolution. So if you scale them according to these changes, so you will get these branch lengths. Basically, let's say this is the one gorilla. So this is 4. So it will be like 4 times the length of this. So this is half the length of this. Basically, you scale it according to the difference. And then here we'll use the midpoint routing. So Praveen must have told you in the morning that the idea behind midpoint routing. So in this case, you pick the longest branch. So this is the longest branch with a distance of 7, and you place the root at the midpoint of this. So that is at 3.5. Okay. And then basically you root it here, and after that you will get this rooted tree. This is basically a phylogram. So where each branch is actually, it tells you that how much evolutionary change has occurred across different lineages. So this is the phylogram.
Phenogram, not phylogram. Phylogram would be for parsimony.
Oh, this is the phenogram. Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah, distance methods, phenogram. Okay, sorry. And yeah, so did you guys understand the idea behind UPGMA and neighbor joining? So these are there are some differences between UPGMA and neighbor joining. So although UPGMA, so the only good thing about UPGMA is that it takes very little computational time. Actually, NJ also takes little computational time. But again, UPGMA assumes molecular clock, and whereas NJ actually calculates we saw that using rate corrected distance, we actually incorporate the variation in rates in different lineages. Again, the tree is an additive tree that we get from neighbor joining. Additive tree is basically the observed difference is equal to the tree distance. Observed distance is equal to the tree distance. And it always gives you a rooted tree. Yeah. But in neighbor joining, we saw that it gives you an unrooted tree, which later on you can use either midpoint routing, that what we did, or as outgroup method to root the tree. So another important point here is neighbor joining tree and UPGMA, both of them, they gives you one tree, okay, one single tree. Okay, it does not evaluate all the possible trees that your data set can have. So you'll see it in the next slides, what I mean by it. So yeah, so it's the same distance. Both, so the UPGMA, the observed distance and tree distance are not equal, but neighbor joining tree, if you calculate the distances from these tree, you'll actually get the same distance as the observed differences. Okay. So are there any questions till this point between neighbor joining and UPGMA?
It's patristic.
Sorry?
Patristic.
Praveen, is there a spelling mistake here? Paristic. It says patristic.
I think it's patristic. Yeah.
I don't know what does it mean.
Basically, tree distance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tree distance.
So UPGMA and neighbor joining, the main difference is like one assumes
Molecular clock.
characters does not involve constantly maintained,
Yeah.
and UPGMA
It assumes that all the lineages evolve at the same rate. Yeah.
and that's why we get that difference.
Yeah. And that's why, because which is sensitive to violations, that is because you never have the case that lineages are evolving at the same rate, right? All the two lineages, once it diverges from the common ancestor, the rates of evolution varies, and it depends on other factors why it varies. But basically, the point is that they are not same, and that's why.
Uses a rate corrected before.
Yeah, so you correct for the, so you incorporate the variation in rate across lineages.
Yeah, it's also a clustering algorithm, just like UPGMA, but then it is incorporating this rate variation across lineages. You know, that whole gymnastic with total distance and rate corrected distance and all that, that's to incorporate the rate variation. And the other thing that you might have observed here is all the species in the UPGMA tree are lined up.
Yeah,
They are at the same distance from the root.
from the root here.
Whereas the neighbor joining tree, they are at different distances. The only two species that are at the same distance from the root is human and orangutan, because that was the longest branch, and we put the root at the center of that branch. Right? So only those two line up. Everything else is at different distances.
So when we say we are calculating rate corrected distance, this is for the like here it is the character, but in the algorithm it is whatever number of substitutions that is using, it is for that. Right?
No, right? We are still calculating pairwise genetic distance here, right? So if you go back to that formula, rate corrected distance, you first calculate total distance. So what it's doing, total distance, for example, is the total distance between that particular taxa and every other taxa,
Yeah.
right? And that goes into calculation of difference in
Rate corrected.
rates along different lineage. And then, then that's how it uses that for calculating the rate correction, right? If you look at the rate corrected distance, it is the distance between human and chimpanzee, which UPGMA would directly use.
So what I was
But minus total distance and those other things, like total distance of human and total distance of chimpanzee. So it is subtracting that with the actual observed distance.
Yeah, so
to
what
get the-
I was saying is
Huh.
for example, here we have 4 characters, like 4 taxa and very limited bases, like sequence number. So the same thing this algorithm is doing with whatever data set we are using and the number of taxa.
Same thing. You could have 4 taxa and 1000 sequence length, right? And the numbers will then be, instead of 2, it will be maybe 20, 40, 30, 70, 60, whatever. Everything else will be the same, right? But the important point there is that rate correction. It's actually taking the actual observed distance and correcting it with total distance for each of those 2 species. Right? So that's the major difference here. So if you are going to use distance-based tree building methods, use neighbor joining. Neighbor joining is safe. I mean, it's still not as good as some of the other methods, but it's far superior than UPGA.
Alright, so cool. So if there are no more questions, then I'll move ahead. So here I said, right, the neighbor joining and UPGMA, both of them, they do not evaluate all the paths. So what I mean by that is, so a 4 taxa situation, we have 3 possible unrooted tree topologies. Okay, so you can make out the difference here, where human is sister to chimp in one case, then here it is sister to gorilla, and here it is sister to orangutan. So these are the 3 different combinations in which you can place these taxa on this tree. So these are 3 different unrooted tree topologies. Okay. I think rooted tree topologies will be little more than 3. I think 5, I guess. I don't remember now. 5 or 6.
No, 15.
15. Oh yeah, 15. So it's a huge number.
Each unrooted tree you can get 5 rooted trees.
Yeah, actually. Oh yeah, you can place root on any of these branches and basically you get 15. Yeah. Cool. So, so UPGMA and NJ does not evaluate these other topologies. It will just give you one tree and basically that's it. Spit out one tree. So there are other methods like minimum evolution and least square. These are again distance-based methods, but they actually evaluate all possible tree topologies. But these methods are not in use anymore. So I'll just very briefly actually go over it. So for these methods, it's a different. So if you have 2 taxa, the calculating the branch length is basically, so you just calculate the difference between the 2 sequences, between 2 species. And so here there are 2 differences here. So so you can put so 2 here and 0 on this, or 2 on this, 0 on this, or like UPGMA does, you divide it by 2 and put 1 on each taxa. So the complexity actually arises when you have more than 2 taxa. So in the 3 taxa situation, so again, basically you calculate the distance or difference between all these 3 taxa pairs. You get this distance matrix. You have these topologies, and then you basically calculate the branch lengths. So one of the method is using this Fitch-Margoliouth method to calculate the branch lengths. So it's very kind of intuitive, but so basically, so you have so distance of A and B is basically the branches x plus y. So distance from A and C is basically given by the branches x and z, and same for B and C, y and z. And now if you want to calculate the branch lengths, so so what you do is let's say you want to calculate the branch length of x for this x. So you take the distance from A to B plus distance from A to C, okay, and you minus the distance from B to C. So this distance is basically this observed distance, okay, and divide everything by 2. So it will give you a branch length for x. Same way, calculate for y and z. Oh yeah, here we have plugged in all these distances, calculated it, you got this branch length, and you do midpoint routing, you get this phylogeny for these 3 taxa. So for calculating branch lengths for 4 taxa, so first you similar logic, basically you convert this into a 3 taxa situation. So you club human and chimp into 1 taxa, that is C, where now you have a 3 taxa situation. Using this Fitch-Margoliouth formula, you calculate the branch length for these 3 taxa. Then I think you okay. Okay, yeah. Then basically you calculate the remaining 2 taxa. Yeah, I forgot now what to do here. So
We'll go into the details, but basically you use Fitch-Margoliouth to get the
branch length. Yeah.
by collapsing
Different taxa pairs. Yeah.
different stages.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So basically you do different you then collapse these 2 taxa and then again calculate the difference. You make the 4 taxa or 5 taxa situations into these 3 taxa groups, so that you can use this Fitch-Margoliouth method. So so you group this gorilla and orangutan, and then again you calculate the branch length using this method, and then finally you get the branch length for the tree. So the point here is that, and then you calculate the internal branch. So the point here is that you use this method to calculate branch length for each of the 3 topologies that I showed you in earlier, like this. So now here we have basically evaluated all the possible 3 topologies. We have calculated branch lengths for all of these 3 topologies, and then you add up on each tree. You add up these branch lengths. Okay, so that will be your sum of branch lengths. Okay, so sum of branch lengths. So for tree 1, the sum of branch length is 8.5. For T2 it's 9.25, and for T3 also 9.25. So this is your minimum evolution method. So what it will do is it will pick the tree with the least sum of branch length. Okay, the lowest sum of branch length. So this is your minimum evolution method. So what neighbor joining would have done is it would have like sequentially added taxa, and basically it would have given you this tree or any of these tree. And the other method is least square method. So what least square method does is, so you have these 3 trees topologies. You calculate the tree distance on these topologies. So this is the tree distance between the different taxa, and you compare it with the observed distance. So in the least square method is basically it picks the tree with the lowest difference between the tree and the observed distance. So here like the T1, there is no difference, so it's basically 0. So it will pick tree 1 as the best tree. But yeah, as I said, minimum evolution and least square, these methods are not in use anymore. So and then you scale the branches accordingly. Okay, I think that's it.
So I have one question. So if these 2 methods are no longer in use, what are the alternative methods then?
So actually so right now people use the character state based approaches like Bayesian method and maximum likelihood. Okay, so these are like the accepted methods for building phylogenies. And as Praveen was saying, you can still use neighbor joining to see the initial stage, like how your data is behaving, what results you are getting. But finally, if you want to build a phylogenetic tree for publication purposes, I think maximum likelihood and Bayesian algorithm is the way to go.
Neighbor joining does use the character.
Sorry?
Neighbor joining does use the character.
No, it uses the distance between those characters. even
what we did.
yeah.
Like we did the character difference. No?
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go back to the initial slide. Somewhere it was. So what character-based approaches are? This step is not there. From here, you directly go to tree. You do not calculate the pairwise genetic distance. I mean, okay, yeah. So I think this covers our distance-based methods. So if you guys have any questions till now. Yeah.
So there are some literature, I don't really remember the year, which is, they use this UPGMA and neighborhood training. I mean, there are some big papers. So how do we consider? Do we consider those papers as a big paper or how is it?
But when was this paper published?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember the years. So.
Now, if they are like, anyways, you don't rely on UPGMA definitely, because there are
And
some.
then this neighbor training, I mean, like some people.
Yeah, so some recent papers, even I have also seen people using neighbor joining, but it all depends on, if they have actually looked at other methods and if they are getting exactly same tree, and if they have mentioned that in the this thing. Yeah, but actually I wouldn't really pay so much attention on papers who are using just neighbor joining for doing phylogenetics.
Which means that you would consider those as analyze it properly and kind of like a
Yeah. So because the algorithms that the character state method, especially maximum likelihood and Bayesian method uses, are much better than neighbor joining algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add that what you're seeing here is a progression of how tree building methods kept improving,
Yeah.
right? So we started with UPGMA. Serious problems with that because it assumes molecular clock, right? So then they said, okay, neighbor joining, it corrects for weight variation. You see an additive tree, much better tree building method, and it's actually quite a decent method. So as Kunal pointed out, if you have a large data